On a serene morning, the sunlight filtered through the leaves, casting shimmering rays onto the golden earth below. The Buddha sat silently under a tree, with the monks gathered around him, all in silence, listening to the breath of the universe and the stillness within. This tranquil atmosphere was the foundation for the profound teachings he was about to share. I, the Buddha, see the monks sitting attentively, filled with a yearning for understanding. I know they are ready to receive the light of truth. Today I wish to share with you a path, a journey that will help you overcome suffering and attain liberation. It is the Noble Eightfold Path, 8 fundamental principles that all Buddhas, past and future, have taught. However, today I will share with you more specifically and in greater detail. Not just one, but 10 important lessons that you must understand and practice in this life. Monks, the path I teach is not an easy one, but if you persevere, wisdom will be awakened and enlightenment will come to you. Each lesson in these 10 lessons is like a precious gem, illuminating your spiritual path. I will teach you how to see the truth, understand the nature of life, and from there, each step you take will be guided by mindfulness and wisdom. So monks, listen carefully to these teachings, open your hearts, and let my words be like cool water soaking into your souls. Let us walk the Noble Eightfold Path together, and together let us explore the 10 lessons that I have enlightened through my own life experiences. Let these lessons shine for you, helping you overcome delusion and find peace in your hearts. Lesson 1. Right view, seeing the truth. Monks, right view, the first element of the Noble Eightfold Path, is the correct understanding of the nature of the world and of oneself. It is the foundation for all paths of practice. Monks' right view is not seeing the world through the lens of craving, aversion, or ignorance. It is the clear vision, free from the fog of illusion. It is the ability to see things as they truly are, without addition or subtraction, without being clouded by wrong perceptions. Remember, monks, that everything in this world is impermanent, always changing, and nothing is constant. This understanding will help you let go of self-attachment and overcome suffering. Listen to a simple example. When someone sees a rope in the dark, if they are not clear-sighted, they might mistake it for a snake. But when light shines upon it, they will realize it is just a rope. Similarly, when beings' minds are not awakened, they perceive the world through the distorted lenses of greed, hatred, and ignorance. However, with right view, they will see everything as it truly is. Therefore, monks, if you wish to attain liberation, the first step is to see correctly. Only when you see rightly will the mind be purified, free from illusions and ego attachments. When you understand that all things and phenomena are impermanent, and there is no eternal self, you will no longer cling or suffer because of them. Right view is the first step to dispelling delusions and the foundation for practice. Always remember that true understanding is not merely book knowledge, but insight from within the heart. When you have right view, all actions, words, and thoughts will flow from profound wisdom, bringing peace to yourself and all beings. Monks, practice right view every day. Look at life with a clear mind, free from blindness, and always remember that enlightenment begins with a right perception. Lesson 2. Right intention, thinking correctly. Monks, as I have taught, the Noble Eightfold Path is the eternal truth taught by all Buddhas of the past, present, and future. Therefore, right intention is the next element that you must practice. Right intention is the key to transforming the mind and creating wholesome actions. Listen carefully, monks. Right intention is not about impulsive thoughts, nor is it about thoughts filled with anger or greed. Right intention is thinking based on wisdom, thinking in a way that does no harm to oneself or others. It is thinking with compassion, thinking about the welfare of all beings, free from the influence of negative emotions. One day, a monk named Chana came to me and asked, "Venerable Sir, I notice that in my mind there are always unwholesome thoughts. How can I change them and cultivate correct thinking?" I smiled and replied, "O monk, your mind is like a garden. If you do not take care of it carefully, weeds will grow, and bad plants will cover up the good ones. Similarly, if your mind is not nourished with right thoughts, negative thoughts such as greed and anger will grow and obscure your enlightenment." Therefore, monk, to have right intention, you must learn to recognize and remove unwholesome thoughts. and cultivate thoughts of kindness and wisdom. When you do this, your mind will become clear and you will no longer be troubled by afflictions. Monks, right intention is the foundation for achieving purity and liberation. If your mind is filled with negative thoughts, how can you act correctly and attain enlightenment? Always remember, right intention is the correct way of thinking that not only helps you act rightly, but also transforms yourself. Lesson 3. Right speech, speaking correctly. Monks, regarding right speech, an important element of the Noble Eightfold Path, as you know, the word right means correct. And in right speech, correct refers to speaking words that bring benefit, avoiding words that harm oneself or others. Right speech is not just about refraining from lying or speaking malicious words. It also involves speaking words that can build, comfort, and soothe the afflictions of others. The speech of a practitioner should always be wise and bring about harmony, not sow discord or cause suffering. One day, a monk named Badia came to me and said, "Venerable sir, I find it very difficult to control my speech. Sometimes I cannot control the words I speak, and I feel that my words might hurt others. Please, venerable sir, teach me how I can speak mindfully." I smiled at Badia and said, "Dear monk, your speech is like a sharp knife. A knife can cut through useless things, but if not careful, it can harm both the one who uses it and others. Speech is the same. If you speak words with compassion and wisdom, your words will bring about harmony and foster good relationships. But if you let anger, jealousy, or greed take over, your words will hurt others and sow division." Right speech is not just about avoiding harmful words, but about using speech to build good relationships, to bring peace and happiness to all beings. Monks, speech can be a powerful tool to guide beings toward liberation. When you understand the value of speech, you will always speak rightly, healthily, and bring benefit to everyone. Remember, monks, that right speech is speaking words of compassion, avoiding words that harm others, or slander and defamation. If you always speak rightly, you will not only purify your own mind, but also help others purify their hearts. Lesson 4. Right action, acting correctly. I will now teach about right action, the next element in the Noble Eightfold Path. Right action means acting correctly. That is, performing actions that do no harm to oneself or others and bring benefit to both oneself and society. It is living rightly in every action, from the large tasks to the small ones, from the visible to the silent actions within the mind. Monks, a person's actions reflect their thoughts and emotions. A person whose mind is filled with greed, anger, or ignorance will perform actions that carry negative qualities. But if the mind is filled with wisdom, compassion, and purity, their actions will always be wholesome and beneficial for all. Listen to a story, monks. There was a blacksmith named Purna who worked all day in the forge. One day he came to me and asked, "Venerable sir, I work as a blacksmith to earn a living. Does this occupation harm my path of practice? How can I perform right actions in my work?" I smiled and replied, "Dear monk Purna, it is not the occupation that is the issue. What matters is how you perform your work. If you work with compassion, causing no harm to beings, and do not act out of greed or anger, then your work becomes a means for you to practice. Work becomes right action when it arises from purity and wisdom. Therefore, monks, whatever your occupation may be, remember that right action is when we work with a pure mind, not harming others for personal gain. Right action is an action born from correct understanding and compassion, leading you closer to enlightenment. Lesson 5. Right livelihood, earning a living correctly. Right livelihood, the fifth element in the Noble Eightfold Path, is not just about earning a living, but about earning a living correctly, without causing harm to oneself or others, and not relying on unethical or deceitful methods. Monks, as you practice, it is important to avoid living by occupations that harm yourself or society, to refrain from actions that violate ethics or the law, and not to engage in dishonest ways of acquiring wealth. Right livelihood is choosing a profession through which you can support yourself without causing harm to anyone, without attachment to greed, and while maintaining a pure mind. There is a story about a merchant named Sariputta who came to me and said, "Venerable sir, I make my living through trade. However, sometimes I feel that some of my transactions are not entirely transparent. Should I continue on this path, How can I live a life of practice while still needing to earn a living in this way? I looked at Sariputta and taught him, Dear monk Sariputta, the profession of trading can be wholesome if you follow ethical principles and do no harm to others. If you trade with compassion, without deceit, and without causing harm to others for your own gain, then you are practicing right livelihood. You must always remember that how you earn your living must be based on righteous actions, not deception or fraud. Only when you work with a pure heart, free from greed, will your livelihood become part of the path to enlightenment. Right livelihood, therefore, is one of the key elements that help monks practice in an upright manner, creating a solid foundation for peace and liberation. From choosing a profession to maintaining a life that does no harm to others, everything must follow the righteous path, benefiting both oneself and all beings. Therefore, monks, pay attention to choosing a livelihood that aligns with moral principles, so you can earn your living without compromising the purity of your mind and the development of wisdom. Lesson 6. Right effort, the right endeavor. Monks, right effort, the sixth factor of the Noble Eightfold Path, is the right kind of effort, perseverance, and diligence in practicing the Dharma to eradicate defilements, cultivate virtuous qualities, and progress on the path to liberation. Monks' right effort is not about rushing into things or being extreme. It is effort with wisdom, effort that prevents the mind from going astray and being drawn into worldly desires. It is the continuous effort, moment by moment, to maintain mindfulness, to eradicate attachment, and to dispel mental distractions. When we speak of right effort, we are not only talking about the effort in the practice, but also the perseverance in living in accordance with the truth. One day, a monk named Anda came to me and said, Venerable Sir, I noticed that although I am determined in my practice, there are times when I feel tired and cannot maintain consistent effort. How can I sustain the right effort and avoid regress in my practice? I smiled and replied, Dear Ananda, effort must come from clear understanding. If you have the right view of yourself and the world around you, you will clearly understand the purpose of your practice, and you will not easily be swayed by mistaken thoughts or laziness. Right effort is not blind exertion, but effort that is guided by wisdom and compassion, helping you maintain a steady mind, free from greed, anger, or laziness. Be persistent in each action, each word, and each thought. Right effort is the effort to eliminate defilements and distractions in the mind and to nurture noble qualities. Effort without wisdom is just unnecessary toil. But with mindfulness and correct understanding, each step, each word, and each thought becomes a right endeavor. When we practice right effort, we gradually eliminate defilements and prepare for achieving right concentration, perfect focus in the practice. Remember, only right effort can lead to complete liberation. Lesson 7. Right mindfulness, the right awareness. Monks, today we will continue with the teaching on right mindfulness, the seventh factor of the Noble Eightfold Path. Right mindfulness is awareness, the clear understanding of what is happening in each moment, in each action, word, and thought. This is an important element that helps you maintain correctness in life and in practice. Right mindfulness is not just attention to the present moment, but also the correct understanding of yourself and the world around you, free from delusion, not caught up in defilements or negative thoughts and emotions. When we have right mindfulness, we can see things as they truly are, without being influenced by illusions or self-attachment. Remember, monks, maintaining right mindfulness is not just focusing on what is happening externally, but also being mindful of each thought in the mind. Every action, word, and thought must arise from awareness and wisdom. I will share a story with you. One day, a young monk Kema came to me and said, Venerable Sir, I often get lost in my thoughts and emotions. I can see what is happening in the present, but I am unaware of what I am thinking or feeling. How can I maintain awareness in every moment? I looked at Kema and replied, Dear monk, right mindfulness is the ability to perceive things as they truly are, without misunderstanding or delusion. It is like when someone in the dark sees a rope, but due to delusion, mistakes it for a snake, feeling afraid and avoiding it. When the light appears, they realize it is just a rope. Similarly, when the mind lacks right mindfulness, it becomes clouded by distorted thoughts and emotions, preventing us from seeing things as they truly are. But when we maintain right mindfulness, we will see clearly, without delusion, no longer caught in our own illusions. Right mindfulness is the clear understanding of oneself and the world around us, preventing the mind from being led astray by defilements, and always maintaining clarity and wisdom in each moment. When you practice right mindfulness, every thought, action, and word will be guided by wisdom, compassion, and purity, helping you stay on the path to liberation. Monks, right mindfulness is the only path to prevent confusion in life, to always maintain mental purity and not be lost in attachment and defilements. Always remember to stay mindful. Always see things as they truly are, and do not let the mind be deluded. Lesson 8. Right concentration, the right focus. Monks, the final factor in the Noble Eightfold Path is right concentration. Right concentration is the ability to focus the mind correctly, helping you maintain calmness, clarity, and freedom from distraction. This is an essential element for achieving mental stability and through it, transformation in your practice. Monks, right concentration is not just focusing on a particular object, but also the ability to master the mind, preventing it from being disturbed or swayed by external influences. When you practice right concentration, your mind will become clear, and from that clarity, you will be able to perceive everything as it truly is, helping to eradicate craving, anger, and delusion, and ultimately lead to liberation. Let me tell you a story to better understand right concentration. Once, a monk named Sadi came to me and asked, "Venerable Sir, I have practiced many methods of meditation, but my mind still cannot be settled. It is easily distracted. How can I keep my mind firm in right concentration?" I smiled at Sadi and replied, "Dear monk, your mind is like a fish swimming in water. If the water is murky, the fish will have difficulty swimming and will not find peace. Similarly, your mind cannot settle if it is not purified. Therefore, right concentration is about persistently maintaining mindfulness in each moment, keeping the mind steady and undistracted. Concentration is not about forcing the mind, but rather about relaxing and allowing the mind to return to itself, free from distractions and wandering thoughts. Monks' right concentration is the foundation that helps you perceive the true nature of all phenomena, seeing things as they truly are. When you have right concentration, you will realize that all suffering in life is merely the impermanent fluctuations of the mind, and from there, you can walk the path to liberation. Monks' right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration are the 8 factors that guide you on the path to enlightenment, helping you transform yourselves and free yourselves from suffering. Strive to practice each factor of the Noble Eightfold Path, and you will witness the miraculous transformation in your mind, achieving peace and ultimately liberation. Lesson 9. Right view, seeing reality correctly. Monks, today we will continue discussing right view, and I want you to understand that the teachings of the Buddha are not just abstract theories, but truths that can be applied in everyday life. Right view is the correct understanding of oneself and the world around us, the understanding of phenomena as they truly are, free from delusion and ego. Right view is not an illusionary or dreamy perspective. It is clear and fundamental understanding of the law of cause and effect, the impermanence of all things, the nature of suffering, the causes of suffering, and the path to the cessation of suffering. This forms the foundation for you to perceive life and the world correctly, leading to a mind of peace and purity. Monks, when you have right view, you will no longer be swept away by wrong thoughts about yourself, others, or the world. You will not be drawn into wrongful desires, and you will no longer suffer from illusions about the self or fleeting material possessions. Remember, the Buddha's teachings are not just lofty theories, but truths that can be applied in each step of life. When you have right view, you will see the world as it truly is, free from the obscurations of greed, hatred, and delusion. You will see the truth about suffering, and from there, you can transcend suffering and find peace and happiness in this very life. Monks, right view is not just words. When you have the right understanding, you will live rightly, and your way of living will be a mirror for others to recognize the truth. There is no need to argue or criticize, but by living in peace and purity, those around you will naturally feel it. Thus, monks, the teachings I offer can always be applied to everyday life. There is no need to search far and wide. Simply look at things correctly and live in accordance with the teachings, and that is the path to liberation. Lesson 10. The goal of the Noble Eightfold Path. Liberation and Enlightenment, monks. This lesson will be the final teaching for today. I will speak about the goal of the Noble Eightfold Path, which is liberation and enlightenment. Each element of the Eightfold Path is not merely abstract theory. It is a practical method that can help you gradually transform your mind, eliminate suffering, and achieve ultimate peace. The goal of this path is to help you break free from the attachments of the worldly life, no longer being controlled by craving, anger, or ignorance. Liberation is the escape from suffering, the end of the cycle of birth and death. Enlightenment is awakening, a complete understanding of the nature of life and the universe, of cause and effect, of impermanence, and of the truth of suffering. Monks, this path is not an easy one to walk, but it is certainly the path that leads to freedom, happiness, and peace. Each step on the Eightfold Path brings you closer to complete liberation. Liberation does not mean escaping from this life. It means understanding and living according to its true nature. When you understand impermanence, when you understand the absence of a permanent self, you will no longer be controlled by suffering and mental afflictions. Enlightenment is wisdom. It is the correct view of all phenomena. It is not a state of passivity, but a dynamic state of being, always awake and full of compassion, seeing things as they truly are, without being clouded by ego or illusion. The Noble Eightfold Path is the path to liberation, and each one of you must practice it, step by step, so that not only theory but your own life will become the testimony of the truth. Walk steadfastly on this path, and one day you will clearly see the ultimate goal of the spiritual path, complete liberation, perfect enlightenment. Monks, throughout these 10 lessons, we have traveled together on the path of the Noble Eightfold Path, from right view to right concentration. Each element contributes to building a solid foundation that leads you toward liberation and enlightenment. The Noble Eightfold Path is not an abstract theory, but a practical path, a method of living that can be applied in every moment of daily life. Each step on this path will purify your mind, eliminate afflictions, and bring you closer to true freedom. Remember, the goal of practice is not to escape the world, but to live in this world with the right understanding, with compassion, and with great wisdom. Through practicing the Noble Eightfold Path, you will gain a clear understanding of the nature of life, find peace within your heart, and attain enlightenment, freedom from all suffering. Do not forget, this path is a long journey, and every step you take brings you closer to complete liberation. Be persistent, diligent, and always keep your mind pure and wise. I believe you will achieve your goal if you practice correctly.